Goes back, Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. Moulton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to a lot of effort and pressure, the F-35 program is marginally improving, just in time for drones and other unpiloted aircraft to basically take over warfare. I think it'll probably go down in history as a huge, massive waste of taxpayer dollars. But what lessons have we learned from this? Undersecretary Duffy?
I think we've learned a lot of lessons. Number one, I think there is an element of, and I think you'll see some of that based on my conversations with my colleagues in the Air Force, of F-47, where we maintain a government reference architecture, which inherently in the design of the system gives us insights into how the system is architected, allows us to maintain competition in the development of mission systems and hopefully competition throughout the life cycle of the program. So that's number one. I think number two is, we need to go fast. We want to go fast, but the risk of concurrency in pursuing technologies that are not fully mature yet, trying to incorporate them into a weapon system can end up slowing us down. So I think it's having the expertise to apply the judgment to find how can we accelerate and how do we need to just slow down a little bit and make sure we're doing rigorous evaluation of how to deploy mature technologies into systems that doesn't delay us in the long run.
Another problem with the F-35 is that they tried to get a part in every state. And that's one of the reasons why it's taken a lot of effort for Congress to apply pressure, because there are a lot of colleagues who don't want to lose that business. How are we going to fix that with the F-47?
Sir, I might defer to my Air Force colleague on the acquisition strategy on the F-47.
No, I appreciate that as well. The idea of, like Undersecretary Duffy had just mentioned, the approach there regarding the government's understanding of how the work will be done by Boeing. In this case, what are the suppliers to those guys? Are they really the best in class? Are they really performing? Using an open architecture so that if one isn't performing, what are the alternatives? Maintaining a base of potential suppliers so that we are not completely locked in.
So let's talk about that base for a second. In the last 30 years, DoD has dropped from 51 prime contractors to 5. Do you believe that this is an over-consolidated market? Or are there things that DoD should do to increase competition under Secretary Duffy?
I absolutely think competition is critical in ensuring that we're preserving competition when we're thinking about, it's a challenge, right? You want to always pursue the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, should previous administrations have pursued antitrust litigation or what? Like, how do we prevent this over-consolidation?
My focus is going forward, and I think it's how do we think through when we're making acquisition decisions, and I do think F-47 is an example of the new kind of thinking that we need, where we're not surrendering the entire architecture of the system and the acquisition strategy to a single contractor, where we can maintain diversity in a single platform and participate in the competition going forward.
And I agree with that, but if there are only a handful of contractors, then you're kind of back in the same position. So how do we prevent this over-consolidation in the industry?
Well, I think that you will always have a need for these exquisite systems for traditional vendors who can bring together a supply chain workforce, all of that. But I think that in this case, where you have a more open approach to those subsystems, you can be diversifying the industrial base actively as a government, where you're more participatory in who are the suppliers that are providing those subsystems. And it's that stepping stone from a subsystem to a prime it's a required, I think, for growth of the defense industrial base.
Mr. Bailey, did you want to add something?
Yes, sir, if I could pile on as well, because certainly along those lines, right, you have only, it is very capital intensive to go through, to have facilities to be able to construct all those things. So we look at other opportunities in the industrial base at those subsystem levels, certainly. But that's not to totally forget that we can create more opportunities to bring new entrants in or scale smaller ones. And we see that in our collaborative combat aircraft program, where we have the companies that are performing in there are not from that traditional ilk. right? And they are looking at how to build complete systems. And then the question for them is, now we take a look at their ability to produce on those as well.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman